I went to Ghana senior high, and then that was the time when the universities were shut, so there was a lot of backlog, So we used to do 2 years national service just to give way for the so we used to do 2 years national. So after sixth form, you don't go straight. So there was always a vacant year for the period 1983, I think, to 88 or so. And you did national service after A levels, then you go to the university. And then I went to University of Cape Coast, and then I did my 4 years program there. And then from there, after my national service, I was retained as a teaching assistant. And after, actually, our leave month was September, and I remember vividly 28 September I left the shores of Ghana to Austria to start another chapter in life. It was a very wonderful time. I had a very, very wonderful childhood. I spent my time between Accra and Keta. During school period, I used to be in Keta. And holidays, I used to come to Accra. I'm a Tudu boy. I grew up in Tudu.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am a Tudu boy. There, you don't see many of the Tudu boys around or Tudu girls around growing into men and women, but I'm a very proud and living example of what Tudu can do and Tudu can produce. In fact, of course, what Keta and what Zongo boy. I'm a Zongo boy. What the Zongo boys can do. And Zongo women as well. I had a very, very brilliant childhood. I was loved. I had more friends who were older than me than friends in my group. My father was well-to-do. I was the last born of my mom. And both daddy and mommy, just pampered me. And my wife often says that my mother left her a very, very huge job to do. Sometimes I pretend I don't even hear that.
You read that? Because last boys are always accused of being swollen head.
Yeah, whatever. Always wanting the absolute attention and the rest. And I also learned a few things in life. But there was always one thing that I saw and I realized as a young man. I knew that I always wanted to be in the academy. I always wanted to challenge and ask and question the status quo, why some people had more, some people hadn't. I was getting pocket money that some for a day, which some got never maybe had. Yeah, never had.
But why were you working barefooted to school?
That is it. That's why they keep telling me that I'm always saying that. But that was the niche at the time, not your time. Or during our time, it was normal to go barefoot to
I actually went to school barefooted myself.
So yeah, so it was something that.
But also,
I recall even one day I went to school with sandals. We used to call it Kaya Bali. It was a rubber one, and it was like I was mocked. Actually, they made fun of me. I was ridiculed, So yeah, but I mean, it was something that people did. It was something that people did, and so it was a normal convention. It's something, yeah. So and I had the privilege of knowing different situations. I am a Hausa, a Muslim, having grown up in Keta, predominantly Vodou and Christian religious communities. I'm a Muslim. I got to understand religious tolerance and coexistence among and between different cultures and people. And I was also privileged to learn traditions, drumming, and other cultural artifacts. And of course, being also a kind of a polyglot, speaking Ewe, Hausa. Then my tree is bad. My guy is a bit better than the tree, but
a to the boy and your tree is bad.
Yes. Well, yeah, I'm nearer the shore, so maybe Ga would have been the best. Yeah. So,
but do you speak the Ga too?
Yeah, I speak Ga. Maybe 40%, 30-40%. I mean, if you speak simple, normal
so
Ghana,
this is your
understand
rating.
about 40,
rating.
50.
This is your rating. Someone can rate you 2%.
No. That's my rating. Yeah.
Just a quick one, though, Doc. The Bella Bello Bitugu. The name? What does it mean?
I'm a Hausa. Yeah, I'm a Hausa, right? My paternal side migrated some centuries back from Nigeria, right?
Now I found a Nigerian linkage.
Yeah, there is a Nigerian linkage, but I don't even know where it is and the rest. It's
really?
like, yeah, of course. It's like the Ghans who migrated from the Oyo Kingdom.
Yeah.
They have no idea where they came from.
Yeah.
And some even say some account groups came from even some parts of Asia.
Yeah.
And the rest, we all migrated. I think in Ghana, it's only the one, debatably, who originated from the present-day Ghana, debatably, right? Yeah. So, so there were migrations. So my grandfather was one of them, and he came as a missionary to a town called Bondugu. It is still there in Ivory Coast, present-day Ivory Coast, Bondugu.
Oh, okay.
So he studied there, and he finished his studies and then decided to go on to his missionary. So he decided to come to Ghana, or the then Gold Coast, or the then...
Yeah, Gold Coast.
Yeah, I think it wasn't even Gold Coast when he came. It was before Gold Coast or something like that. Anyway, so what happened was, after finishing, the southern belt was actually blocked.
Okay.
With the Ashanti War and so on and so forth. So he was in the north in Salaga and Bondugu.
Salaga?
Yes, Salaga here. So there is a place there, a hamlet. It used to be a town, then turned to a village, and now it's a hamlet called Bondugu. Sorry, called Bitugu. But the man came from Bondugu, but the people could not pronounce Bondugu. So they pronounced it Bitugu. So they used to say the Malam from Bitugu. The Malam from Bitugu. So the Bitugu got stuck. So that is where my surname came from, the father of my father. But he was Mr. Ibrahim, Mala Ibrahim. Okay. Bella, I'm a Hausa man, a Hausa Fulani. Bella simply means Koku, Kweku. Wednesday born boy. Bella Arabi. Yeah, the writing was a bit gotten wrong. Those days, I don't know, maybe not your time. Those days, in the village or in the area, they just see an older person, an adult, and they say, "Jale, take him or her to school." The guy took me to school, and at that time there was a singer in Togo called Bella Bello. She used to spell her names with one L, though. Bella Bello. Now, my father's name was Bello, a Hausa Fulani name, meaning it has been fulfilled. I'm satisfied. Okay. But the Bello is also a name shared by the Yorubas as well. They also have it. So it's Hausa Fulani and Yoruba name. So the guy took me to school and then said, Bella Bello, that's my name. Of course, my name was Bella, my father's name Bello. So he said Bella Bello, reminiscent of the popular singer, the Togolese singer, Bella Bello. Yeah, so that was, and then he spelled it with E-double-L. And also he got stuff, of course, I didn't know about that. So I didn't actually care until I went to the secondary school, but it was already late. It was on my certificates and the rest. So
you just stayed like that?
I just stayed like that. Instead of the A, the E has come to stay. So Bella is Wednesday born boy Bello. It's been fulfilled my father's name, Bitugu, the surname.
How did you get yourself from your early days into switching into sports, where a chunk of the things that many of us know you for is the things you've done with FIFA, with UEFA, with the Ghana Football Association, with many committees in this country? How did you switch into sports, or how did you get into sports?
Well, I'm proud to be a member of these fraternities you are talking about. There is a committee I'm a member of, which I thought, I keep asking myself, why did I even join this committee? Why did
That's the point. Why did you join them?
No, we will leave that to history. That particular, we will leave it to history. I don't want it to be there, but if there is anything that I may bite and say why, it's been a member of that particular committee. But it's an experience in life.
Is it the committee that I know?
I won't. Well, you certainly know if I mentioned any, but
no,
but I've not mentioned any committee.
Is it the committee that I know? Because you're on so many committees.
Yes.
And I know you serve as a member of the GFA Appeals Committee.
Right.
Is it that
No,
one?
no. Don't pull me
Is
in
it
there
that
as a journalist.
one?
No.
No.
I didn't say.
Okay, so Doug.
No.
Which institution have you been part of each committee that you feel that it was, why did I join this committee?
Please edit that part of the video.
It's a question.
No.
Which
maybe
committee?
later in the course of the conversation
Which
I'll let
committee?
you know. Now you are like a journalist.
Okay, let's have a conversation then. Tell me about your story of getting into sports.
Yeah. But it's a very interesting question which I have to answer every time, and which I have to refer to my members of staff, which I have to refer to, which I refer my staff, my students, etc. to, and always mention that I actually did social sciences.
Yes.
Then
Because
veered into educational sciences.
Your
Yes.
CV, I realized that most of the things you do were social science.
Yes, social and educational sciences. And that is what I also did, educational sciences too, for my master's program in Austria. And late 1990, an organization was formed to fight racism in Europe.
Yes.
Interestingly, I was the first black referee in the federal state where I was studying, that they call Tyrol.
Okay.
Tyrol in Western Austria. The capital is Innsbruck. And I was the first and only black football referee in that federal state. So, and part of my specialization in my studies was also all forms of discrimination, anti-racism, and the rest. So with my experience as the first black referee, with my background specialization in anti-discrimination, all forms of discrimination, and with my interest in, if you like, social justice, this colleague of mine, friend of mine called Kurt Vakta, together with another friend, Mikhail Fanizadeh, established an NGO called Fair Play, which still exists, to fight racism in Austria. And in a short period, they established Football Against Racism Europe in 1999, and I was coordinating European activities. So I entered sports through fighting different forms of discrimination, homophobia, racism, etc. in sports, just to make sport accessible to everybody, for all to enjoy sport and to have access and the opportunity to patronize and participate in sports. Man, woman, boy, girl, atheist, Christian, Muslim, Jew, rich, poor, black, white, African, Asian, all forms of discrimination to be eradicated in sports. That was my intention, and that was the intention of Fair Play, and later Europe-wide, which I was then coordinating. And then came 2000. Kofi Annan designed and promoted the Millennium Development Goals. And part of my area of concentration in my program, by then I had then started my PhD, was development studies. So the Millennium Development Goals came around the year 2000, and it so happened that the opportunities just existed. I was part of the minority, fighting all forms of discrimination in sports, football for that matter, starting an area in development studies, and then Millennium Development came on development, especially in the world, but especially in the global south. And that is the part that brought me into it, that sport is a tool that can be used to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. So the gates just opened. UN, European Union, Austria, Africa, and it was just moving, opening, moving. And I then was moving into sport for development, sport against all forms of discrimination, and then at all the levels. I acted as the coordinator of the program in Europe. I acted as the Ghana fan ambassador to the 2006 World Cup in Germany.
In Germany. Some of the UEFA Euros as well.
Yes, and I got a prize on behalf of the fans after the 2006 World Cup. Then 2008, I was a fan coordinator for when Austria and Switzerland hosted the Europe UEFA Championship. I was in charge of Innsbruck in Austria, and then
2010 World Cup.
2008 also the Cannes 208. I came here and we did something with the World Bank and the SOS Hemangmana Fund. A foundation, actually.
Football has sold you to the world.
Sports, actually. Football started it, and then the rest followed. And then 2010, I was the one in charge of 6 European countries and 5 African countries, Kenako, where
I remember Kenako.
Yeah, Kenako, that's right. So I was the one coordinating that in Europe, in many parts of Europe, in certain countries, and also in Africa. And just to draw a bridge between Africa and Europe, and for which reason I also got the federal state prize in Innsbruck. And then in Austria, we got the Volta Prize, the highest prize in Austria for our work. So it just was moving, there was opening. Then I was reducing my teaching. I had then taken up teaching at the university in Austria. So I started reducing because I really had fun doing this work on the field, because I had the opportunity to do academic work as well and do work practically. And I started what we call autodidactic, something that I taught myself, attending all kinds of seminars. You were earlier on talking about my CV. You saw the workshops, the seminars, the conferences, and then that's how I developed myself, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. How would you describe the journey?
Maybe 25 years now, 26 years,
Has it been worth it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then I came back to Ghana, and being where I am now 10 years plus, and I realized what could be done. I keep telling people that at the moment where I sit, I think I've only been able to give out maybe 40–50% of what I can give back to Ghana. There is a lot that I've not been able to give out, maybe because of the system, the structure, the processes, and maybe because of us too, Ghanaians, because of us human beings, and because of some structural issues. But
how do we get you to give even just 80% of what you have?
80.
How do we get you to give 80%?
Well, I think first of all, it's the structure. The structure. We should move away from just doing the same thing. We should be open to new things. We should be open to saying, look, there is a time for investment, there is a time for reaping. We should also be ready to suspend instant gratification. We should go into silent and patient investment into structures, processes, ideas, strategies. We should work with concepts, we should work with ideas. Not this is how it is done and we do it this way. Yeah, we do the same thing every time. Anything you do for 3 years or so, that's if you continue doing the same thing for 3 years, then I'm sorry, something is not very appropriate over there. You need to move. That is another thing. One other aspect is sometimes we confuse physical education and sports, and we need to get that dichotomy. Another thing is too that sports is being run, or everybody thinks he or she can run sports. Once I have a general knowledge, I can apply it anywhere in sports, which is wrong. And that is one of the reasons why we are having difficulties and are not able to take up things that we can take up, or not making progress to the extent that we could make. Because, you know, a technocrat trained in anything thinks I can be put in sports and I can run it. No. In as much as I believe that sports is an area where you hardly find a parent body. So there is really no, I mean, 85 to 95% of the things you do in sports do not have their parents' body in sports. They have their parent bodies elsewhere. If you want to become a sports lawyer, you need to do sports, you need to do law first. If you want to be a sports sociologist, if you want to be a sports psychologist, if you want to be whatever, you need to read the psychology, the sociology, the law, the finance, the banking, the medicine, before you specialize in sports in that area. That we agree, that I agree, that happens. But you need to have that basis and also have a transition into sports and understand the ecosystem of sport. You don't just have that knowledge and think that is all. You can do it because you have that knowledge. And I think that is one of our problems, that we should understand that sports has its expertise, has its arena, even if it does not have its parent body in there. Coming into it, you need to also study the ecosystem before you can apply and transfer that parent body in there. So my educational sciences, my sociology background have helped me to look at sports from various angles and different perspectives. So another thing that we think we can do to get 80 or 90% of maybe Bella is, or many others, is also our mindset. Our mindset, you know, that this is
this is the way we do things.
This is the way we do things. This is how it is. Don't bring those two things. So, as you know, those are the things. So if we can reduce these things, and we can see sports as a business, we can see sports as an investment, we can see sports as something outside the classroom, we can see sports as not only within the domain of the government, not only in a national government, not only in a central administration thing, that we can see sports not only in competition, but sports that is competition as well as recreational and can be used as a tool to instrumentalize the qualities of the institution called sports. I think those are the things that we can do to get more from people who come and would want to give a little bit more.
Listening to you earlier, I deduced that we probably have loads of round pegs, square pegs in round holes. Is that what it means? Where people believe that because they have a certain general knowledge about sports, they think that is how it is done, instead of having a specific understanding of specific areas to manage the sport.
Oh, that is absolutely correct. I'm not sure it is only in sports, but it is very, very pronounced in sports. Because it's like everybody thinks I can come into sports and I can run sports, which is not the case.